Okay, well, we'll call a meeting to order. Penny's not gonna be here, obviously, her husband's in the hospital. So if Dot, if you would, read the minutes of the last meeting, please.
Unless Blake wants to take minutes.
That's it.
Hey, I offered. New business. Appropriation for Marietta Fire Department. 50,000 signed, 60,000 for the new computer for Zoom. Meeting signed. Paid Chris new $100 for setting up system page, home page, and YouTube. Signed the Township Associated Agreement. Meeting adjourned, Blake Fix and Vinnie Poe. Tom, you were absent that day.
Okay. Everybody satisfied with the minutes? If so, they'll stand as they're read. Does anybody have any old business?
No.
Okay,
My old business finally, I was let it get so hot.
do what now?
Why'd you let it get so hot?
Well, I don't have anything to do with that, Tom. Since there's no old business, we'll go to new business. Number one, I'll pass this around to be signed. What it is, we just went to a meeting on how to do the budget, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. And there's the expenses for that. So, Tom, if you would sign and approve, and I'll attest it after that, and then I'm gonna take care of that part. Now, along with that, we're gonna have to have a resolution for a
Let's go.
debit. What?
I didn't write one of them up yet.
No, I understand that. Anyway, for a debit card, because we get up there to the hotel, whatever you want to call it, Wyndham Westfield. And I put it on my credit card as a guarantee on it. Well, we get up there Monday morning to pay the bill, and we're going to write them a township check. Oh, we can't accept checks. I said, this is a government check. There's no problem there. No, we can't accept that. And he said, we can't accept cash. I said, you can't accept cash? No, everything has to be done on a credit card. So because of that, we have already applied for a debit card from Central Credit Union. But we'll have to get paperwork together on that so you guys can approve that. And by the way, I don't know if you knew, Penny's husband is in a hospital in Indianapolis, and they really don't know what all's wrong. So that's why she's not here tonight. So anyway, there's how we are on that. Now, we have to put together, what do you want?
These. These are what you're talking about now, I think.
Well, it wasn't, but that's what I will.
I'll go ahead and look at each one of them guys, then I've got the one that you'll have to sign.
Okay. This is how we're gonna set the budget up for next year,
Pay-wise.
if that's all right with you guys. My pay will go to 15,000. Dot's pay as clerk will go to 7,000. You guys will go to 1,500. If you have no problem with that, Both of you sign off on it down at the bottom of one of them here.
On this one here, not that one,
And-
Tom, not that one, Tom. That's your copy.
And we're gonna put that in the budget.
And after the taxes on you guys, you'll be making $1,385.25 after your taxes. Which is a pretty good little raise. Thank you.
Well, I was telling Tom earlier, the way they've got it set up, the county and the state are gonna end up with our money. And I'm sorry, but I have no reason to want them to do that. I want it to stay in our township. Now, I'll show you what our budget is. You got copies of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's a copy.
That's a copy of what the budget's going to be for next year. I want to raise, and I think I can explain why I'm raising a lot of it. We're going to raise each one of the fire departments to $20,000 a year. And when it comes to the budget this year, we're really going to give the taxpayers a good break, because the money that's in the fire fund that we get from the county, we're going to go to zero. So all the taxpayers are going to get that money saved. Now, we'll do that for 1 year, because the following year we have to put it back in there. And the reason for that, if we leave it out for 2 years, we lose it and have to start over. We can drop it for 1 year and bring it back the next year and not lose it. But we're going to give everybody a good break for 1 year on it. Now, I don't know what the county's going to do, because it's ridiculous, their stuff. And I want to raise the cemetery up here, and what we figured on that?
35.
It's 35, and I'd really like
That's
to,
what we raised it to.
well, it was 3,000.
Yeah,
But I'd like to raise it more than that. And if I do that, it would be in order to make that a restricted fund, so we can have work done on the stones and all this
we'll
other.
make it into a capital improvement plan, so we accumulate money to redo the stones, take the trees down if we need to,
And all
and any
that.
maintenance that needs to be done.
But we'll make that into our capital improvement plan, which we've got to establish. I'll read that to you in a little bit. Now, let's talk about the fire department. The letter I got from the chief Doug Lutz, the chief of Shelbyville. The mayor has advised me that the contract for 2026 will be for $24,000. We're giving them 12 now. Annually. After discussion with him and the city attorney Meltzer, this is what the contract is to be, unless you can provide documentation specifying why it shouldn't be. The Swift water team equipment list will be sent as soon as DC Tennell finalizes it.
That's for equipment.
Attached is the run total for Shelby Township in the area covered by the contract. In 2023, they say they had 120 county calls, 6 in the city limits. Now, county calls, 120. In 2024, they had 108 in the county, 3 in the city limits. In 2023, a total of 126, and in 2024, 111. The fire calls only in 2024 supposedly was 34. I'm sorry, but I listen to them 24/7. Not only Shelbyville, but Marietta and Waldron. They didn't make that many calls. Unless I didn't hear them, and it was all done when we were out. I listened to them in the truck.
I can't see it.
These calls are in Shelby Township covered by the contract. I don't believe that. And they want to raise to $24,000 a year, $12,000 every 6 months. I'm willing to go 10 every 6 months to make it $20,000 per year, but not $2,000 a month.
I go along with that.
That's
Now.
That's what we budgeted for.
Is
Yeah.
it 12,000 a year now?
Yeah.
It's $12,000 a year now, and they want to double that. Well, that's nice. I'm glad they want to double it, but we shouldn't have to build that new fire station up by the casino.
Or buy the new trucks for downtown.
And they've ordered a new pumper and cut the water supply on that from 1,000 gallons back to 750.
But then
I
they said
believe.
that was gonna go down to town instead of,
Yeah, but that's for one downtown. Well, that's fine. They've got fire plugs. We don't have any fire plugs out here.
But this is still keeping the county departments the way they are.
Just like there. That's correct.
that's what I understand.
Yes.
And so-
Now, we're raising Waldron and Marietta next year to 20,000 each. I don't see that Shelbyville deserves any more than they do. First of all, they don't even have a tanker where Marietta and Waldron have the availability of a tanker.
If they go on a run, they have to call them anyway.
Yeah,
And then they don't want to pay them to do it,
Yeah.
you know.
eventually, somehow, we're gonna have to start paying a couple firemen to be on the station. I see that coming.
A lot of the
But-
stations don't want to chill.
True. Waldron, right now, needs a new, well, I want to call it a pickup, but it's not really just a pickup. But from all of the townships that they service, that's Orange in Rush County, Noble Township, Shelby County, Liberty Township in Shelby County, and Shelby Township. Out of 4, they would like, let me say it that way, they would like $25,000 from each township. We've got it. I think we ought to give it to them.
Again,
My question is that, how is Liberty gonna do that when they don't have that much in the budget?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
he's increased their budget.
Yeah.
Ryan has.
Ryan has increased that in his Hume Fire where he can handle that. Yeah. Now, my question is, I wonder about Orange Township in Rush County. I don't know. Here's what they'd like to have.
It's almost like the responding truck out of Shelby. It's gonna be, they'll have equipment on it that they can use if they're responding to help
Oh,
somebody
this
else.
goes with that, by the way, I'm sorry.
The way I understood it was kind of a responding truck.
Yeah, rather than running one of the large fire trucks out, like going to the nursing home over there and so on, they'll use this truck. And that really makes sense to me.
Scout vehicle.
I mean, liability wise and everything else, really. Now, do you have the, yeah. That's what I
I
had
guess
that
for the bed to go on it.
mixed in here.
Oh, you did have it.
Okay, now we're gonna talk a little bit about the meeting we were in Monday. I'm gonna read it if you wanna follow along and see how much of it you understand compared to how much I understand, and maybe we'll all of us be confused. House Bill 1461 seeks to close the gap on Indiana road revenue funding presented as package of option for the local entities to pursue. Needs come from state reliance on fuel taxes for roads and consumers seeking more fuel efficient options. A kitchen sink bill containing a little bit of everything. Items included are the power of counties to impose delivery fees on Amazon, DoorDash, and so on. And then so on covers just about everybody that makes deliveries in the county. Charging to community crossing programs, changes to wheel and excise surtaxes, among other things. House Bill 1461 in townships, whether based on facts or just perception, the bill presumes townships are holding substantial reserves that should be put toward local road funding. Original surplus estimates included borrowed money, grants, donations, or tax draws needing for 6 months of operation. At best, the number used now includes funds that were earmarked for other needs. What ID old is new again. Township capital improvement plans. The House Bill 1461 brings back CIP, in other words, capital improvement plans adopted by Indiana Code 3669. All these are effective July 1 of 2025. A township capital improvement plan, Section 363 of the House Bill amends IC 36695. Previously, this statute provides that a township must adopt a CIP if the total amount of funds in its CIP fund exceeded either 150% of the township's annual budget estimate prepared under the Indiana Code for the ensuing year, or $200,000. Well, our budget don't go anyways near $200,000. Township CIP is defined in IC 36693 to include a number of different township funds, but essentially any fund established by the township for the payment of the CIP under Indiana Code 3669 after June 30th, 2025 which is coming up next Monday. CIP requirements after June 30th of 2025, beginning July 1 of 2025, a township must adopt a CIP annually. It must be filed with the department in a form and manner prescribed by the department, which we don't have that yet.
It's on their website.
It is on their website?
They said use the one they've done before.
Oh, okay. The plan must include the balance of all unrestricted funds that exceed the township budget for the following year. And two, the purpose for which all unrestricted funds are being retained for. That's why I want to raise the cemetery fund, we'll raise the fire department funds, and so on as well, because that makes it a restricted fund. Unrestricted funds is defined by new section Indiana Code 636945, added by section 35 of the House Enrolled Bill 1461, cash reserves that are not obligated by township following year budget, committed to a township CIP. Remember that one, committed to a township CIP, encumbered by a contract or purchase order, fire or equipment order, restricted for a specific or specified use by state or federal law or other applicable state or federal rule. Well, we don't have any there. Restricted by contractual obligation, loans and bonds. And again, we don't have any of those. Restricted by a third party, a bequest of a will or a donation. Again, we don't have any of those. CIP must be adopted no later than September 30th of each year. That includes September 30th of 2025. Adopting a CIP, township trustee prepares the plan. Township board adopts the proposed plan. Board holding hearing to adopt, no special notice submitted to DLGF, gateway uploads. In 2019, DLGF provided templates, guidance issued thus for suggesting that will happen for current CIP requirements September 30th, 2025. The new Township Road and Infrastructure Fund under Indiana Code 36610-2, a township must establish the Township Road Infrastructure Fund for improvement and maintenance of roads and infrastructure within the township boundaries. Do I need to read that again? The fund can be set up by a board resolution. The fund should be established even if there is no immediate revenue to deposit in it. Road and instruction memorandum of understanding. Perfect Indiana Code 36610-3 and 36104, a township must also enter a written memorandum of understanding with a city, town, or county as applicable for the transfer of funds from township road and infrastructure funds to the city, town, or county. This transfer is for the purpose of bidding out projects approved by the township for improvements of road and infrastructure within the township boundaries. Before the memorandum can be entered, the township board must adopt a resolution in favor of providing money for road and infrastructure, transferring funds. Per Indiana Code 36-610-5, a transfer from Township Road and Infrastructure Fund must be done the same manner as a transfer from Rainy Day Fund under Indiana Code 36-185.1D2B3 shall contribute 30% of balance of all unrestricted funds as defined in Indiana Code 36-6945, see section IV.A.2 above, that exceed the township budget for the following years as provided in CIP under, and it gives the Indiana code again. Township total funds in all categories minus any restricted funds minus next year's budget. The township's unrestricted funds multiplied by 0.3 or 30% equals the annual road and infrastructure contribution. The formula supposedly simplified. If the total township funds is $1 million minus $600, which is any restricted fund, $200,000 next year's budget, which none of those figures figure into ours. They're way too high compared to what we have. However, it yields $200,000 to townships unrestricted. 30% of $200,000 is $60,000. $60,000 is the annual road and infrastructure contribution to be deposited in the road and infrastructure fund. And that is only one of the things that we've got to figure out and put up with.
And now that your copy, go home and digest if you want to try it again.
So this bill passed.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It passed and the governor signed it and welcomed it, I guess.
Everything but a rubber stamp.
Well, yeah. If you guys want to look at this, this is our township, east and west of what goes to these funds up here.
I looked at the paper.
Okay, well, that's basically where it came from. These are from Amy Glackman. And that's how our tax base is set up. And I'll tell you, we're already paying county tax, and they're saying that they're not getting the money from the gas tax and all, and we're gonna make up the difference. So they want 30% of anything we have left that's not earmarked for next year's budget or whatever. That's why I'm saying I want to take care of our fire departments, I want to take care of us, and I want to take care of the cemeteries and anything else that I can make as an unrestricted, or that I can make as a restricted part of the budget in our capital improvement plan.
Excuse me, you want Marietta's runs?
Yeah. Marietta's runs in 2023, the fire runs were 10, EMS runs 13. I'm not sure what he means by NBA offhand. Total of 26 runs in 2023. That's still more than what Shelbyville made. runs in 2024. Fire runs 3, EMS 20, for a total of 21. 2025 so far, fire 1, EMS 15, and MVA. I'll bet that's,
Assisting.
Yeah.
Motor vehicle assist perhaps.
oh, yeah, that could be, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
2, in other words, a total of 18. They're making a lot more runs, and Shelbyville is taking a lot of their runs away from them. We know that, because they come below 450 south. Shelbyville does.
He looked it up, that's all it means.
Oh,
And-
thank you.
Here's Marietta's 5-year wish list.
Well,
But we're,
I don't want to get into that
we'll
right
talk,
now.
that's when we'll do the capital improvement plans,
Yeah,
is with these, if you don't mind.
I'm going to do my best to come up with a capital improvement plan. I don't know if I can come up with it on Monday or not. And
I doubt if we can this year.
I doubt it too, but here's the thing, we've got to submit something, or they're saying they won't okay our next year's budget. And
But if they don't okay it, what happens?
we don't have a budget to work with.
But we can still operate because we had the money there. We had the money in the bank. But we just won't get the CAGIT and the PERF.
Right.
We won't get them.
And the county will get all.
So
What would normally come to us on a monthly basis and yearly basis, we wouldn't get.
as you see, we still got a lot of homework yet to do ourselves.
How are they
I'll
gonna
tell you
do
what's
this?
caused a lot of that, and maybe you're all for it, but I'm not. They give too damn much tax abatement.
Oh, you're not kidding. I mean, okay, why did the county give away the ethanol plant up there? That's in the county on 300 North, and they gave it to the city. So who gets all the tax money and everything from the ethanol plant? The city of Shelbyville. How are they gonna handle a fire up there? There's no fire plugs up there.
And that's, thank God, that ain't our area to worry about.
You're right. But the casino, where they want to build this other fire station, that's in Brandywine Township. Brandywine Township went to a fire territory, and
Just so they didn't have to fight with Laurel and Shelbyville,
yeah,
I think.
we know they're trying to get rid of us, and it's going to happen. We were told that Monday. They just don't know when.
There's
But I hope
some
they-
saying it won't, but
Yeah, well, they've been trying to do that for years and it hadn't got done. Well, what the county commissioners better look at is if they do away with us, who's gonna take care of the township assistants? And that's something that you'll see on the budget. We lowered this year. We lowered it from 12,400 to 12,000. No, 10,000.
12.
Okay, 12,000.
Because we put the record books all up in one area instead of
Right,
having.
instead of having them part of it. And it's just like the fire departments. If they do away with us, who's gonna contract the fire departments?
Of course, you've heard them talk about that. They want to do districts around too on those. So I know you've heard about those. Your brother.
There's 14 14 cemeteries in this township. we, as trustees and board, have two. One up here, the old Union, and the parish cemetery down on Columbus Road. The county has three. One over on State Road 9, just north of 500 on the west side of the road. The one behind Shelby Manor, there by the sheriff's firing range. And the other one is the John Tyndall Cemetery. And you can see how they're maintained. Well, if you look at our cemetery, it's had a new fence and so on that we put up. It's got a driveway now that you can pull off the road to go into the cemetery. And we need to do more work on them in the way of straightening some of the stones and getting them up and do that. We can dedicate money to that as a restricted amount where they can't go after that. And I think we need to do it. We only have two. The county's got three. They maintain one because out of the John Tyndall farm, and all that money is just sitting there being built up, built up, built up. Every time they lease or rent that out, all that money goes right into that fund. It was meant originally for the county poor. That was one of the stipulations that John Tyndall wrote in his giving it to the county. It hadn't been done.
Well, the poor farm got shut.
The poor farm really was not on John Tyndall's property. I always thought it was, but it isn't. So when they tore it down, though, we don't even have any place. They don't have any place to maintain other than the farm ground and that house and building over there on 9, which is on John Tyndall's farm.
They moved the highway, or the county trucks out there to where the manor used to be.
Yeah, look at the stone and everything. They got equipment parked out there now and all kind of stone and everything back there, and they're using it as a supply area for the southern part of the county. So these are things that I'd like for you to think about and think about what you want to improve and approve. We'll do our best to come up with a plan. Does anybody have anything additional? This House Bill 1461 will take 30% out of our general fund, which you've got here on the budget, and the rainy day funds. 30%.
That's rainy day funds out there, I do not think to write them out stale.
So, anyway, I don't have a resolution on the fire truck for Walden. Does anybody have any problem with a resolution for $25,000 for that truck? We were over there the other night and he started that truck up and it sounds bad. And they use that for runs like going to, where they don't need a fire truck. So, and I've yet to get the insurance binders from Walden and actually from Marietta yet. He hadn't got them together, but that's all right. We've got to get them their 6-month check. And their 6 months check this year will be for $7,500. Next year it's going to be for $10,000 because we're going to raise in the contract to $20,000. If Shelbyville does not accept $20,000, what's your opinion on what we ought to do? My opinion is we split that 20 between Marietta and Waldron, and then turn Shelbyville in for not contracting for us. Turn them into the state. Because they won't contract for it.
Do we even have to give them that much money up front? That's a lot to ask for, just to double.
It is. 24, that's too much.
According to everything I've read, they're supposed to request a raise to the board.
Not tell us what we're gonna pay.
And then if the board approves it or doesn't, they can talk it over. But they
And
don't,
Marl's down, maybe you don't agree. I used to be involved with it, so I'm real strong. They cut the assessment out of the trustees' hand on what a failure that's been.
Exactly. Tom, everything they've taken away from us to save money has ended up costing us more. I mean, when the township trustee did the assessing, it was all, who knows, the honest to God, now I'm not trying to brag, but how many people know this township better than I do? I'll bring you the whole thing, and I'll give you one as well, of what all is in this township. From the high line that runs through here to the pipeline that came through,
all the old cemeteries.
the old cemeteries, every bridge, all of that. All of the cemeteries, all 14 of them.
You have the uninsured and farm buildings that's been built.
No, I don't have all of that. No, I don't. Nor do I have all of what's been torn down. As far as buildings, no. That part I do not have.
I can name a bunch of them, but I ain't.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but also I just think we had a better way of doing it when the trustee did it. Now, that's my opinion. And I don't know. Well, that's basically all I have. Would somebody, do we have any more new business? If not, does anybody want to entertain a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion.
I second.
Motion's been made, seconded, we're adjourned.
And I thank you for all coming here.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, shut that thing off so we can talk.
Oh, wait a minute, he's gonna show it to